Hello, dear friends. My name is Tessa Fife, and welcome to day 3 in my series of sharing this amazing book as I read it. It's called The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. And today today I read the chapter on the 3rd spiritual law, which is called the law of karma. Other people may know it as the law of cause and effect. And again, a wonderful chapter with such great visual language, which is a feast if you're like me and you think in visual language. Then you will enjoy this, but I'm going to keep this just to 5 minutes today, see if I can summarize it in less than 5 minutes. But anyway, so he talks about the law of karma, and he says that basically every action we do generates a force of energy, and that force of energy returns to us in a like way, in a similar way. Yeah. So you've probably heard of the phrase, what we sow, or what you sow is what you reap. So basically what you I'm trying not to abbreviate, I'm trying to stick to the language of the book, but I have often said, well, what you put out there is what you get back, although that's not in the chapter, but just as a way of breaking it down. So these are the 2 main points. So first of all, every action that we do, everything we choose to do, has a force of energy behind it, and that energy is going to return to us in a similar way. Yeah. And then the second point is that we should then be choosing actions. So when we choose actions that are bringing happiness and success to other people, then the fruit of our karma is going to be happiness and it's going to be success. Yeah. So I think that's pretty cool. Now, it's a very rich chapter. There's so much in it. I'm just going to touch on a couple of things ever so quickly. I like how he describes us as needing to be conscious choice makers. He says you and I are essentially infinite choice makers. So we looked at the pure potentiality as the first universal law, and in everything we do, in every moment, there's an infinite number of choices, and when we choose one thing, we should intentionally choose it. That's what he's saying. And he says that many of us make choices sometimes without even realizing it. So we make conscious choices, but then we make a gazillion unconscious choices. Whether we like it or not, that's what happens. Another thing that I thought was very interesting is he talks about, everything that's happening now in this moment is happening because of a choice that we've made previously. I mean, it starts to blow your mind, doesn't it? Hi, Arsen, how are you doing? Everything that's happening now is a result of a choice that we have made previously. Whether we like it or not, that's just a fact, yeah? Which is why he says that you have to make choices, you have to get into the practice of making choices consciously, not making choices unconsciously. And he says that most of us, now this bit I found really interesting, he says that most of us have become, and I'm quoting, bundles of conditioned reflexes that are constantly being triggered by people and circumstances into predictable outcomes of behavior. I'll say that once more and then I will say what I think it means. So most of us, even though we have infinite choices and we are infinite choice makers, we have become bundles of conditioned reflexes that are constantly being triggered by people and circumstances into predictable outcomes of behavior. In other words, we've become so used to a pattern of just falling into making a decision without even thinking about it, so unconsciously, that we just fall into this repeated pattern of making these decisions. And I have to say, a lot of the time, those patterns of decision making are not serving us. They're not good patterns of decision making. So there we are. It is very interesting. And he says that most of us, as a result of conditioning, have repetitious and predictable responses. So this is like the example where you're training a dog, right? Not that I'm comparing myself to a dog, but you're training a dog that every time you ring a bell, you're going to give it some food. And so then after a while, you don't even present the food, you just ring the bell and the dog is expecting food, yeah? Because it's conditioned, it's sort of one thing is associated with the other. So that's what he's saying, we just fall into these patterns of unconscious choices and unconscious decision, sort of like we're in, I don't know, a bit of a fog, or maybe like we're sleepwalking. So he's saying that we have to step back from this, and the way that we can break this is that get into a habit of, before we make a choice, we can kind of be like this third witness to what we're doing and what we are deciding to do. So when you are witnessing, take a step back and you witness the choices that you are making. Just the act of witnessing is sort of going to help you come out of the unconscious, automaton response and start to really consciously choose what you're doing. Are you with me so far? It's a bit deep, and actually 5 minutes is not enough time to go into it, but there's so many wonderful things in this chapter, and he also talks a little bit about how we can use our body as a guide when we're making choices, because sometimes we feel a sensation. We can feel a sensation of comfort, or we can feel a sensation of discomfort, and that sometimes that can be a little bit of a message to help us decide whether or not we're making good choices. So many things in this chapter. I can't possibly talk about all of them. Yeah, I mean, amazing. I highlighted so much. There's another bit where he talks about the soul, and he gives a kind of working definition or a breakdown of our souls. And in his words, he says that your soul is a bundle of consciousness that has the seeds of karma, memory, and desire. Now, I want to go back and read this chapter again, except I have to keep moving forward because I have to do the video for the next chapter tomorrow. But it's so rich, and it really makes you think. It really made me think that, in every single moment, I can be witnessing the choices that I make, and I have to accept that everything that's happening now is a result of choices I have made previously. So therefore, if there are things happening now that I'm not that keen on, then really I shouldn't be looking elsewhere. I should be looking at myself, because I've chosen a decision that's brought me here. So I suppose when you kind of digest it, it's very helpful. It's very helpful because you'll be thinking more about the choices that you do make. And he also gives a formula in here to help you cope with what he calls your karmic debt. So this is when you realize that you are in a situation now that is the effect of a choice, a decision that you made some time ago. And assuming that it's a place that you're not very happy with, he gives you a formula and some tips on how to kind of turn that experience into something good. So he talks about how you can transform that karmic debt into looking at, in the moment, sort of looking at, okay, well, what can I learn from this? What is the universe trying to teach me from this? And what can I take from this to help others, that's going to benefit other people? And through that, you can sort of kind of transform the position that you're in now into a good position, even into good karma, into a good choice. Fantastic. Anyway, I'm over time now. So I will just quickly go on to the 3 tips. You know, at the end of each chapter, he gives 3 tips on how you can bring that law into your life. And so his 3 tips here, the first one is that he says, you know, today choose to witness the choices that you make in each moment. So pay attention to the choices that you are making in each moment. And simply by paying attention and witnessing them, you're removing yourself from that unconscious, I'm just going to make a decision, not even thinking about it, to being a conscious, you're choosing to make a decision, which is much better for us because we become fully conscious. Number 2, he says, whenever you make a choice, ask yourself 2 questions. What are the consequences of this choice that I am making? Yeah. So what are the consequences of this choice that I'm making? And secondly, ask the question, will this choice bring fulfillment and happiness to me and also to those who are affected by this choice? So 2 questions to ask yourself when you're making a choice. And thirdly, he says, you can then ask your heart for guidance and be guided by its message of comfort or discomfort. Yeah, so if your choice feels comfortable, then go for it. Plunge straight ahead. But if your choice feels uncomfortable, pause and then see the consequences of your action. So you're sort of going into yourself and you're looking more closely at what the consequences of your action would be. He calls this your inner vision. And this will help to guide you to make the right choices for yourself and for those around you. It's so interesting. So there we go. That is the 3rd spiritual law of success, which is the law of karma, or the law of cause and effect. Hi, Jose, I'll give you a wave. So tomorrow, join me and I will move on to the 4th spiritual law, number 4 of 7, which is the law of least effort. All coming the courtesy of Deepak Chopra in his amazing book, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. So comment down below, let me know what's your biggest takeaway from this 3rd law, the law of karma. Comment down below, let me know what your biggest takeaway is. My name is Tessa Fife. I'm sending you my light and my love, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.